Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Joris and welcome back to another reaction. I'm still healing, I'm still recovering from surgery, and I've been streaming on Twitch recently. I've been playing Super Mario Galaxy. Anyway, I've been wanting to do some more reactions, and I was just looking through some stuff, looking through some old videos, looking through some old channels, and I saw this and I thought this would be really good. Every night, you know how like every other night you're like watching something and it's just something that keeps you up all night? Well, for me, it's videos that have to do with space and universe, dimensions, you know, all that stuff. I kind of wanted to find something to react to along the lines of that while also kind of being controversial. So then I found this. This is another Jubilee video. This one is called Flat Earthers versus Scientists, aka Logic versus Retard. Kind of wanted to react to this to see, because I know the Flat Earthers thing is like a pretty big thing when it comes to the world of conspiracy and internet stuff. It's downright dumb. That's all I can really say about it. It's absolutely false, and anybody with common sense and with even the slightest bit of logic would know that. I don't know, some people just think very differently and believe this type of stuff. But anyway, I kind of wanted to check it out and see what's going on and see what these people would say. So let's get into it. Okay,
I'm Jim Underdown, Executive Director of the Center for Inquiry West in Los Angeles and the chair of the CFI Investigations Group.
I'm Spencer Marks, one of the senior members of the CFI Investigations Group, Science Advocate.
I am Marina Yeri. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I'm with the University of Irvine.
I am Wendell Walton. I'm a Chief Learning Officer for a young startup.
I'm Shelley Lewis. I'm a graduate of West Point, critical thinker, and jumped out of the airplanes.
You just had to throw a critical thinker in there. You can't possibly be a critical thinker. All right.
My name is Dan Glattman. I work as Dan the Waterman in the drinking water filtration industry, and I'm a truth seeker.
What? Dan the Waterman. And you said a truth seeker. Clearly not. Okay.
Only step forward if this is true for you. I believe the earth was created by a higher power.
Yeah, okay. Well, for me, that kind of goes into religion a little bit rather than logic.
Well, I've been a Christian for 30 years.
Yeah, Christians, exactly.
Like, for example, in Isaiah, when it talks about how the earth is like a clay wax seal that's stamped with upturned edges, that's just not some fancy story. That's a simile. It is like.
Right, absolutely. And in Isaiah it talks about too, and I'm a Christian, he who sits upon the circle of the earth. There's a difference between a circle and a ball.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
If you look at the original Hebrew, it means disc. There's over 200 scriptures in the Bible that point to a flat earth.
I'm gonna say it again. This is going more into religion rather than logic. And I know religion and logic tend to clash, but I'm going to kind of combine both. The way I think right now, the way my mind works, I kind of combine both. I get, I have logic while also having faith. For me, I've found a way to like kind of make them work. Having faith and having hope that something is, while also having statistical evidence. For as far as the earth being created by a higher power, not even the earth, for me, the entire universe has been created by a higher power. You mean to tell me stuff has just gone too perfect from the Big Bang all the way up to now, almost like somebody planned it out. Now I'm not gonna say, oh, God did it. I'm not gonna say that. I'm trying to stay on like a basis where I can relate to everybody here. Stuff has gone pretty well from the Big Bang all the way up to, the formation of Earth and the formation of our sun and the solar system. Whatever conditions people say when Earth was cooling down and there was water, and then some asteroids came with some minerals or chemicals that created life or something. I don't know, in my mind, stuff has just went way too perfect. And now we are like this intelligent civilization. We can think, we can learn, we can, stuff feels way too perfect for it to happen on its own. I think somebody or something or somewhat has had some control over this, or at least planned it out and put it into action and just let it go and just watches over it. I tried to have logic while also having faith, not too much faith, and you can never go wrong with too much logic anyway. So I don't know, but for as far as the answer to that question, do I believe the earth and the universe was created by a higher power? Yes. simply because stuff has just gone way too perfect. Somebody had to have did it. Like, there's no way the universe was just like, you know what? I feel like starting today. Do I believe that Earth and stuff created by a higher power? Yeah.
So this notion that you need God or some higher power to create the Earth or the universe is very old, and was initially posited by people of a pre-scientific age. Since then,
Well, that's true.
we have learned quite a bit about the universe coming into existence, when that happened. Modern humans don't get their cosmology, they don't get their physics, they don't get their knowledge of the universe from the Bible or any ancient text.
Exactly.
It's sort of like the God of the gaps. Once, people used to believe that lightning was God's wrath and throwing these lightning bolts, but once we understood it was a natural process, God shrank a little bit more because now we couldn't attribute those lightning bolts to God. We had to attribute that to the real science. The other thing, the point about the Bible specifically for me is, why is that one particular text the correct one? You choose to believe that, and that's fine.
Exactly, you choose to believe it.
There's so many other writings and so many other books, so why weren't they correct? Why is just the Bible correct?
Well, what you'll find in a lot of these ancient religions is they're all flat earth religions. All their cosmology goes back to being a flat earth with an enclosed system. So it's not just the Bible that teaches this, it's many different religious books.
So one problem I have is to trying to explain phenomena happen in nature by holy books. Those are religious books. Those are not books of science. And it is wrong to infer or deduct scientific readings out of those books.
It's not incorrect.
My name is Wendell. I am a logical,
There's not a whole...
biblically based, and scientific flat earther. I didn't start out.
You can't put science and flat earth in the same sentence, fam.
So we went out to an observation at Salton Sea, and things just didn't add up down there. So we've gone back probably a dozen
What?
times, and I can guarantee you that there is no curvature over distance.
Oh my god. Part of me understands why they think that. Like, if I were to look out my window, I look into the distance and there's no curvature. That's because the curvature is way too big for you to see it on the floor. If you were way higher, say in an airplane, you'd kind of see it. If you were on Mount Everest, you could see it. If you were really high, like in the atmosphere high, you would see the curvature of the earth. It's too big to see from down here on a ground level. You have to be tens of thousands of feet high to see it. And if the earth was flat, then I could look out my window. I would be able to see every city, every building, every body in the world. If I was high enough, I could just look and see everybody and everything that exists. But I can't see London from here. I can't see Paris. I can't see Tokyo. I can't see Amsterdam from here. I can't see them because they're on different parts of the world where the world is curved and you can't see it. That doesn't work.
The internet has played an important role in confirming my view of this topic.
There we go. See?
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty easy to say YouTube isn't research, but when you spend enough time, you're picking up quite a bit. And with the discussion groups, panels, we've gone against opposition. We've opposed ourselves.
You know, my grandfather used to tell me growing up, never believe anything you read in the newspaper, right? He told that.
It's the same thing for the internet.
That's why, because of my my multimedia background, I knew that all that stuff could be faked. You know, take it into Photoshop, take it into After Effects.
So then, what?
Okay, this is at the core of the issue of why there are so many flat
Come on.
earth believers out there right now.
They all get it from
problem
the
is,
internet. They lying.
The information from someone who decides to start a website or produce a YouTube video is not reliable.
Yeah.
When I have a toothache, I go to a dentist. When my car breaks down, I go to a mechanic. When you have questions about cosmology, you should go to an astrophysicist, you should go to a physicist, you should go to people
Right.
who have spent years and years studying these ideas, not some 6-minute YouTube video.
Exactly.
One of the things I will say is NASA.gov has their own documents out there that we get to vet, which is through the Freedom of Information Act. And would you agree that NASA documents, if they're on display, that we should be able to go and research inside there?
NASA is not proving that the Earth is flat.
Well, they say it in 14 of the
you
documents.
should read what NASA says, and you should listen to what
I
NASA
would
says.
love to see.
I don't think NASA is saying. Let me try and find. What is NASA saying about Earth being flat? Let me see if I can find something. Okay, so this is nasa.gov. The ancient Greeks believed the Earth was round and calculated its circumference with remarkable accuracy, while observers inferred our planet's spherical shape as it cast a shadow on the moon during lunar eclipses. With the advent of aviation, photographers could reach altitudes from which they could record the Earth's curvature. See, if you get high enough, you can see the Earth curve. You can't see it from down here. That dude is stupid. This dude is stupid.
I'm what you call a globe denier. You could even get me into a virtual construct if I can't find the borders myself.
What shape would you say you think the Earth is?
It appears to me to be a stationary plane.
Yeah.
As opposed to the vastness of infinity of space, I would find it to be an ice plane where we have a localized sun and our environment thrives there.
That makes absolutely no sense. That can't possibly work. There is no such thing as a planet that is a disk. Every single star, every single planet that we know of, even like asteroids, they are not two-dimensional. Nothing in space is two-dimensional but space itself. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. My mind is smoking right now because this is so retarded.
I view the other side as uneducated.
I'm running.
They think they are uneducated.
How are you uneducated?
Well, they
What?
certainly think they're,
They have degrees.
because we know that at least on a large scale, the government has been disingenuous, and they're pushing a narrative, right? So it's hard for us. I mean, I'm sure that you've met people too. It's like, look, you haven't looked into it yet, or are you a shill? Are you part of a disinformation campaign?
Okay, I get the government being shady and not telling you everything, but I'm pretty sure for stuff that mankind has been troubled with since the beginning, I'm pretty sure that's stuff that everybody would know. Maybe when it comes to the moon landing or stuff like that, the space race, there's a lot of, edited or secret or hidden, simply because it was more of like a political thing rather than a mankind thing. But when it comes to just simple space exploration, stuff that everybody wants to know, I'm pretty sure there's not gonna be a lot hidden. You cannot possibly argue with someone who has done research. You can't argue with people who have education in that field, who have degrees. The scientists have degrees or have years of research. Like they said, the heads of organizations or whatever they said. That one dude said he was the chair of, I think, a CSI thing, whatever he said. And those other people just read stuff on blog. Who do you think I'm gonna believe? People who have went to college and people who have gotten degrees and people who are chairs of organizations, or people who read crap on blogs and watch 6-minute YouTube videos? Come on.
I don't think you guys are uneducated. I think you're wrongly educated.
I think
There
the
you go.
problem with
That's a good answer.
what I've seen in the flat earth crowd is that it's not that they're undereducated, but they, instead of looking at evidence and letting the evidence guide to where the ultimate conclusion is, they start with a conclusion and then they try to cherry pick evidence to support their pre-drawn conclusion. They cast away all the bits of evidence that actually is contrary to their belief system.
I think that you're very well educated as well as you are, Jim. But-
Certainly Ali is. He's
and-
probably got the best
and
education of
yeah,
all of us.
Exactly, and he paid for it too. But more and more professionals are coming on board. They're starting to question their reality. So the thing of it is once you start to really
He said their reality. That's the thing. For a lot of people on the flat earther side, they're having trouble. It's really a thing out of emotion and opinion rather than logic and fact. That's the main thing. They base everything about how they think and how they feel and what better works for them, rather than what is actually facts, rather than what's researched, rather than what is true. And that's the thing about these people. They cast away the truth because, a lot of these opinions and lies make them feel better. They will not listen, and they won't listen to the truth. In the back of their minds, I think they know the truth. If they have any bit of common sense as a regular human being, they probably do somewhat know that they are wrong. A lot of the times it's just straight out of opposition. One thing for sure, It is stupid.
I'm hoping to be able to tell our side of the story from the inside out. So many times, flat earthers are depicted from the outside in, and I want to be able to share with others empirical data that proves the earth is not what we've been told.
Please show that data to me.
I changed my mind at some point about this topic.
So when I was 12 years old, I went to space camp, and I met Alan B. Shepard.
Oh, nice.
Yep, and I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be the first woman to walk the moon. So for me, I'm a glober. I went into this completely wanting it to be true. And my husband told me, he saw this thing about the fake moon landing. And I was like, you're absolutely crazy. There's no way that the moon landings are fake. And then in 2010, my husband was killed. And so I never really developed that until around 2014 when Flat Earth kind of came back up. And that little voice inside my head said, remember the fake moon landings? Remember when that was brought to my attention? And then I started really critically analyzing that. And I would say, just looking at that evidence, if they can lie about the moon landings, they can certainly lie about pictures and satellites and other things. And so I started going down that rabbit hole of studying. So that was my influence.
From what it sounds like for her, this entire flat earth thing is based off of trauma. Her husband died, and she started getting into conspiracy, and she said she fell down that rabbit hole. See, it's all based off of feeling, and that sucks that her husband died. I'm not, depicting her like, oh, your husband died. No, it sucks losing people. She said she fell down a rabbit hole of research, conspiracy, and all that stuff after her husband died. So I get it, but that still does not make you correct.
NASA is solely designed to change my mind. It is, from its inception, from its discovery, has been a television program. It's been a space program to sell us on something that they've yet to actually show us. Show me
Bruh.
a globe.
What are you talking about? Show me a globe. I'm about to show you a globe right now. Google, where is it? Google Earth. Bam. That dude is absolutely stupid. I can somewhat reason with everybody else. I can somewhat reason with Shelly and that other dude, I forgot his name. I can kind of reason with them a little bit. I cannot reason with Dan. I can't do it. Look at this. Look at the Earth. Whoa, that's insane. Look at this, bro. It is a globe. You can't I'm spinning it in all directions. I'm spinning it up. I'm spinning it down. I'm spinning it to the right, to the left, northwest, northeast. I'm spinning it in every possible direction. You can't do that with a disc. A disc is two-dimensional. You can't spin a two-dimensional figure in three-dimensional directions. Come on, son. So this is the tallest mountain in the world right now. If you were to stand here and look out into the distance, you would see the Earth curve. You have to be very high to see the Earth curve. You can't see it from a ground level. So like, look, the Earth is curving. The Earth is, it's not doing this. Like when I turn it, it's not doing this. It's not moving like this. It's moving like this. You can't, I'm moving it in the third dimension. That's all the evidence you need. The evidence is on Google, bruh. What does Google have to lie about?
The timing of your conversions is interesting to me. 20 years ago, the flat earth world was tiny and insignificant. Enter the advent of the internet, YouTube, online discussion groups, all these new available places where you could find information.
This dude has a good way of explaining stuff.
This is true that the evidence as you looked were not robust evidence. And the sources you used, they were not reliable sources again. But my problem is that, and I like you guys that you are very skeptical, but at the same time, you are not skeptical about your belief system. That should come first.
You think that's...
No, wait a minute. Don't cut him off. He was on to something right there. Oh, he was about to get him with that one. Ooh boy, she cut him off quick because that he was about to blow they stuff wide open. He was about to put them on blast. He said, I like that you're skeptical. You seem to be skeptical about research and science and logic, but you're not skeptical about your beliefs or your religion. Boy, you can't. Now, I have never read the Bible myself. I say, I say I'm Christian. I say I believe in God and Jesus and all that. That's just because that's how I was raised growing up. Black people. God exists, Jesus exists. I was kind of raised in the Church of God in Christ, mainly. I've read parts of the Bible. The only parts I can remember, to be honest, are Genesis and a little bit of Revelation. And it's a lot. I can't remember all. It is too much for me. Plus, let's not to mention the Bible wasn't written by God. It was written by people. The people who wrote the Bible had way lighter skin than me. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Not everything in the Bible is true. I actually found out a lot of the stories in the Bible, a lot of things that the Bible say, really didn't even happen. Now, of course, Jesus exists. I'm pretty sure the tomb that he was buried in and everything in Jerusalem or wherever it was, I think that actually exists. I think for a lot of people in the Bible, there's also graves and grave sites or whatever, but not for everybody. I'm not gonna say the Bible is incorrect because there's a lot of things that the Bible says that I can apply to everyday life that are actually quite universal to humanity. But there's a lot of stories in the Bible. There is a lot of falsehoods in the Bible. This is another point I should also make. The flat earthers, apart from the scientists have actual degrees, they have done research, they have first-hand information. The flat earthers, on the other hand, they all have second-hand information. They have listened to stuff that people have told them. They've read stuff that other flat earthers have written. A lot of their information is second-hand. Whereas the scientists and stuff have actually done that stuff and researched themselves.
I think that's my foundation for why I believe the earth is flat, and I'm telling you, you're wrong.
What is it then?
I have evidence that proves it's flat.
What type of
proves
evidence?
it's not a ball.
Exactly.
What type of
Curvature,
We're being misled. We're being deliberately misled by mainstream
Now,
media.
what's your evidence?
We see
Yeah,
too far.
please.
We see too far. We should not be able to see. I live in Dana Point.
Okay.
I can see San Clemente Island, which is 60 miles away.
So what?
It's very high.
What?
Can you see a ship which is going?
We're
Oh
not
yeah,
talking
let's talk
that.
about the ship that goes
Yes,
over the curvature of
okay.
the earth. I love
So-
that. So science has said that when I see a ship go out of my field of view, it's going over the curvature of the earth, correct?
Yes.
But then I bring my P900 up, and guess what? I can zoom it back in.
Not
So
all
is
of
it
it,
going
No.
over the curvature of the earth or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, not all the
No, you
time?
can't.
Not all the time?
No, you don't see all the ship. The bottom part of the ship
Yes.
is hidden by the
At that
curvature.
distance,
Exactly.
you can't see the top
At
of it
all.
either.
If the Earth were truly flat, there would be really hardly any limit. You would be able to stand at the top of the Empire State Building and look towards Chicago, a mere
Exactly.
1,000 miles away, and see the lights of Chicago at night.
No.
Why wouldn't
Exactly.
Because you have an atmospheric disturbance.
Very thick.
Oh, so now you want to bring in logic and talk about atmospheric disturbance? Come on, son.
It's faulty logic. It's completely faulty logic.
It's logic.
Okay.
My God, these dudes are stupid, bruh.
The Earth is undoubtedly a globe and not flat. This is
Yeah.
well supported by gobs of science.
And common sense.
Scientific consensus is possible.
What is the question?
I don't understand the question.
Scientific consensus is possible.
They don't even know what the word consensus means. You know what? I don't even know what the word consensus means. Hold on, I actually don't know what a scientific consensus is. Give me a second. Okay, so a scientific consensus is basically everybody or most, the majority of people agreeing on one thing. So if that's the case, a scientific consensus is absolutely possible, but they just don't want to admit it. Even though the scientific consensus is possible, for as long as people like that exist, we will never reach it.
I've been spending a lot of time arguing with people that argue the other side. And I found that surprisingly, consensus always wins. It was shocking to me that the group with the majority has an incredible advantage. As scientists, flat earthers, truthers, punks, we're at an incredible disadvantage.
Let's talk about scientific.
That's not a disadvantage. He's making it sound like, oh, that's the reason why we can't win, is because we're outnumbered. No, it's just because y'all are retarded.
There is scientific consensus on a global Earth. There's scientific consensus on evolution. A lot of big
They
issues.
use the word theory.
Do you know what
No.
a theory in science is? An extremely
And a fact.
No.
fact. Don't mistake this word theory.
You are,
in
not me.
science. It's not conjecture. It's not.
It's an explanation. Is it by definition?
Dude, shut up. Let them speak,
So
bro.
this is something-
Show me a
They let
fact.
you speak.
Why
I
aren't
think
all
theory
facts
is-
theories?
Shut
In
up.
science, the word theory is the highest level that you can give something because it's so well supported.
What about a fact?
That is a fact. It's
Not a
but-
fact you would call it a
You know why?
fact.
Do you know why? Because in science, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to find to tweak and find better information.
So that is how science works.
It gets better refined over time, as opposed to flat earth theory, which never gets refined. It simply
Exactly.
is what it is.
New ideas have limited access to media and limited exposure. Until we're in university curriculums, we will continue to appear uneducated.
Well, that's not true. In the history of science, we had many occasions that the idea was not welcomed by the society.
That's true.
Einstein was one of them.
Galileo.
Galileo was one of them.
Yeah.
But if your theory is
Hold on, let me read that. 1633, Galileo was put on trial for holding the belief that Earth revolves around the sun, which was deemed by the Catholic, okay, by history.com. But yeah, that's absolutely true. I couldn't name anybody, but yeah, they said Galileo, Einstein. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of scientists and astronomers and just people throughout history who have had these ideas and these thoughts and the research and everything and all these propositions weren't received by the society. But it also wasn't received by the church. The people with the religious power. It's the people with the religious power that's keeping everything in order, casting away the truth to keep control. That's the other thing. The Catholic Church and all these churches and all these religious institutions, they have been using religion, not truth, religion to keep control or to have a structured society rather than the truth. And when people come with research, Galileo in 1633 came with research and came with that proposition, he was on trial for that.
I used to believe that science was after the truth, right? We all just want to know what the truth is. Science has been trying so hard to divorce itself from the idea of a creator when God's intent was to create science to lead you to Him. You know, sometimes things seem supernatural that we are able to explain later through, science. Okay, I understand. But there are other things as well that are supernatural, that go beyond the natural, that we can only explain through believing in a creator, right?
This is my big issue
Well,
with
that's-
science.
I get that.
Scientific approach and non-scientific approach. You are absolutely right. In
Yeah.
science, we are after the truth. You do have the conclusion. Let's find the evidences. Science doesn't work that way.
That's not
Well,
true.
that's not what
That
we-
is not true.
Well, you are saying
No.
you are referring to Jesus, who many billions of people do not believe, including myself.
And many more billions do.
So what?
So who's right?
That is not true at all.
That is what you are doing
No,
right
you're
now.
not. You're making that assumption,
No,
which
it's
I
not
think
my
science does a
assumption.
lot of.
Well,
So do you make assumptions or not? Does
I
science make
don't know.
assumptions? Does science
No,
make
let me-
assumptions?
Yeah,
Of
we
course.
sure.
Okay.
We do
course.
make assumptions
But-
based on things that are well supported and
Bias.
proven and reproven.
Bias.
We don't have
Show
to.
me how you isolate gravity. If gravity
We
is
don't
an
have to-
assumption, you show me in the scientific method how you isolate gravity.
What? Now they're just speaking absolute gibberish. This is probably the most intense one. Oh my god, they had to give a few. Yeah, that's crazy.
I just want to check in.
This is the first video I've ever seen where they had to do this
I
because
kinda
things
feel
got
like
hot.
I want to develop some of this stuff a little bit more. It feels high level, but I feel like there's so much that I haven't really even touched base on.
Well, I mean,
Logic.
you understand? Good. He flipped.
Oh, he went to the wrong side.
The greatest moment in television history, right there.
All right, next one.
All right. NASA is trustworthy.
Not 100. I don't know. I'm not gonna say 100%, but I mean
So, I mean, obviously, any organization can be wrong with certain things, and they
I'll let them explain it.
may have individuals that lie or deceive or something. But as a general organization, they're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the idea that NASA and the government is lying to us about the shape of the Earth is the height of conspiracy theories. In order for this to be true, the literally hundreds of thousands of people who at some point over the last 50 or 60 years had to be somewhat complicit in this, and nobody spills the beans at all, is on the face of it completely unbelievable.
The private does not know what the general is doing. There's compartmentalization happening all the time.
Of course.
So it wouldn't be that far-fetched. Has the government ever lied to us is really the question at stake.
We all agree on that.
Yeah.
But now with NASA.gov, right, and absolutely they're not lying about anything. They're completely transparent. Everything is true. We'd be foolish to
There's
think
a
that's
difference
true.
here. I'm sorry, this is a fallacy here. There's
Not
a
a fallacy.
I'm sure it is.
Go
See,
ahead.
you were talking about a government. Now you're talking about an agency of the government.
NASA.gov.
But you are dealing with smart people, believe me. You are dealing with smart people.
I don't deny that.
So it is very
Ali is one of those people.
Raise your hand if you think we went to the moon.
What is the proof?
I know somebody went up
Hundreds
there.
and hundreds of pounds of
I'm not
moon
going to say
rocks and
the first
dust.
person to go up
And
there was
we
American, but
distributed
somebody went up there.
those freely to PhD scientists around the world. And not one of those geologists have said, what is this?
Been
This is
proven to
some-
be fake.
And also
Yes.
and collected on the ice in Antarctica and
Yeah,
in the Arctic as
absolutely.
well. Those are collected. You don't have to go to the moon to get moon rocks. As a matter of fact,
Yes, you do. They're called moon rocks.
Why would all these honest, hardworking people perpetuate this massive fraud? Why would they do this?
What's the benefit of doing
Okay,
that?
the benefit of it.
Yeah.
They make $52 million a day. Follow the money.
No, the little
Follow
guy.
the money.
The little guy.
That's what, then when you say,
Not
oh,
money.
okay.
But it didn't start out that way. And NASA was not founded to prove the Earth was a globe. It had nothing to do with the way they were founded.
Well, if you go and study
are you
the
sure?
Yeah, positive.
Really?
Yes.
That's not.
Somebody
Bro.
has to be a voice for reason, and somebody has to be a voice for truth.
Reason.
It would be a
Come on
fantasy to
now.
believe that I would change anybody's mind from the other three. However, if there's somebody sitting on the fence, and this is the first introduction to this debate, perhaps they'll hear the reasonable voice and say, yeah, that makes more sense than having this pizza-shaped Earth.
Right.
I can put myself in the mindset of the other side.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try because my brain would blow up if I
used
tried to
be
become a
ball
flat
earther.
earther.
Everything you say right now is completely what I used to agree to. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
For me, I think the correct way to do any kind of investigation or to examine things is by literally putting yourself in that mindset of the other person. So I do that. I disagree with your position, but I completely understand from your perspective what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the modern world, unless you live in a cave somewhere, you have to believe in science implicitly. I met a flat earther, a young woman who said, I don't trust anything that science does. Human beings can't replicate the whole body of science every single generation. At some point, you have to trust what's already been discovered and proven and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, we're not going to advance at all. I mean, when you
Exactly.
turn that key ignition in your car, you expect the car to start out
And not blow up.
and not blow up because science puts you in that position.
What I get from
Yeah.
you guys is that seeing is believing. So how come you believe in God or Jesus? You haven't seen neither of them.
Nobody
I've
has.
seen evidence, though.
Well, exactly. So we are looking for evidence. There are many, many other evidences for Earth not being flat. Your belief system in God and Jesus or Jehovah or Buddha or Zarathustra or anyone.
You keep going back to religion as being
Because
our
it's coming
conclusion.
from the
Because,
No,
yeah.
I
it-
have evidence.
Nah, Ali's correct. Y'all are coming from religion. Y'all said y'all both at the beginning. Y'all were talking about the Bible. Every time Ali brings that point up, they get restless because they know they're not dumb. They know that he's about to put them on blast, and they cut him off to keep it from happening.
You
I
quoted
agree.
Bible.
Of
That's
course
the
I did, but
reason.
Exactly.
That's not the only reason I know what the shape of the earth is, and you keep,
Well,
that's fallacy.
You said Bible
not
and
fallacy.
trauma.
It is a
That's
fallacy.
the
It
two
is
things
not
I'm hearing from
fallacy.
Shelley right now.
You-
Bible and trauma. Those two things are not reliable.
What I'm doing is the combination of string theory and cosmology. So we try to understand what happened during the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, or even before the Big Bang.
What are you hoping to get from the discussion today?
Well, I hope I would be able, particularly to the young generation, to convince them that first, they should think critically and don't believe anything. They shouldn't take anything for granted. Look at the evidences and examine those evidences. And
Don't just listen to other people.
Those claims that are not
Don't believe secondhand information.
Science, not to put it down, but when you're talking about rocket science, this is very difficult for the majority of people to understand, and it's designed that way. And so, in a lot of ways, hiding behind rocket science is similar to religion. If you look at the Catholic Church back in the days, only we can interpret the Bible, you have to listen to what we say. So in a lot of ways, we're getting that same notion from science that says, only we can interpret what these numbers are, you just need to trust us.
Well, the difference between the church and science is that there's logic in science. And we have given you evidence. The church has done nothing but practically use fear and beliefs to control people. What do you think I'm gonna believe? Belief or evidence? Belief or evidence? That's the main difference between church and science. She's trying to basically say that science is kind of like the church in that it's having this wide, effect on people, like controlling everybody. No, because science has actually proven that stuff and it's absolutely reliable. Whereas the church, they've been just using religion and beliefs to control people and control societies. That is not the same. Science and church are not the same.
My question for you guys would be, next time, bring me something from your theory, your model, that you can predict something which the globe Earth model cannot predict. Then I would change my mind.
I would just say that
They won't be able to do that.
don't believe anything that I've said. You got to do your own research. And I think what you'll find is that you'll see that a
makes
puzzle
sense.
piece doesn't fit. And the only way you're going to do that is if you put your own eyeballs on it.
I don't blame people for being skeptical. I'm skeptical about a lot of different things. I applaud that instinct in you. Ask the hard questions. Ask what qualifies a YouTuber, a book author, anywhere else you're getting this information. What qualifies them to make wide-ranging comments about the shape of the earth? But they have to come up with the goods. They have to show good science-based evidence that what they say is true, and they have to withstand the test of time and peer review and the rigors of the scientific method.
All right, thank you.
Oh my God.
Ollie, it was nice to meet you.
Okay, finally the thing is, this is over. Jesus Christ. Bro, that video gave me a headache. I have never reacted to a video and had a headache afterwards. My God. By looking at this video, the only flat earther on this video that I would really probably have the time and the span to reason with would probably be Wendell. For the most part throughout the video, he was being calm. He did seem like the most reasonable flat earther, whereas Shelley was basically basing everything after religion and her trauma. She said that was the whole thing that caused her to fall into that conspiracy rabbit hole, and Dan is just flat out retarded. Everything that probably makes a flat earther, it's all secondhand. There's not a whole lot of research, reasoning, and logic. There's not a whole lot of that. Most of it is just what makes them feel better and what helps them grasp it all. When it came to the scientists, they have actually studied that stuff. Everything they know is firsthand. That's the main issue, especially now with the internet. It's not only like that for flat earthers, it's like that for all these other different groups of people who believe in other things. Is the internet. They're listening to liars. They're basically listening to opinions. They can't prove anything. All they can do is just get angry. Real quick before I do end the video though, I do want to read the comments because sometimes people in the comments are like, they say funny stuff or just say, stuff that we're all thinking. I don't think they're uneducated, they're just wrongly educated. Yeah. That was absolutely correct. When he said that, he hit it with that one. Love how they all called the scientists unintelligent, but none of them knew what the scientific consensus meant. That's what I was saying. When that question came up, they was like, huh? What? Dan was like, his brain was smoking. He was like, what was the question? The scientists were fighting for their lives not to just burst out laughing. Flat earthers. I'm a critical thinker. I'm a truth seeker. Also flat earthers. The Bible says the earth is flat. That's what I base my reasoning on. Come on, yeah, you can't be a truth seeker and a critical thinker but base everything off the Bible. That does not work. I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for the scientists who have studied their fields professionally for so many years when these flat earthers say they're wrong is because they watched some YouTube video or read some article in the internet. Exactly, that's what I was saying. You can't possibly discredit people who have done research and have degrees and have done this stuff for many, many, many years, but to get talked down on somebody who's been watching YouTube videos and reading blogs, I don't think so. Okay, one more. I don't know how these scientists managed to sit through without laughing their faces off. Also, the flat earthers are saying NASA has to prove that the fact that the earth is flat. Then they say NASA is unreliable. I can't help but laugh. They did say that. They did say that. Now that I think about it, I think it was Shelley who said it. She did say, "Oh, NASA has been proving that the Earth was flat." And then I went to look it up to see if NASA said anything about the Earth being flat. And then later on in the video, they say NASA is completely unreliable. So basically, you've been getting all your stuff from an unreliable source. If that's the case. They don't even know the stuff they be saying. I am undoubtedly on the side of a globe earth, not a flat earth, because they didn't even talk about this, but the simple stuff that if you think about it, the weather, day and night, gravity, up, down, the curve of the earth, all of that stuff together, like it just makes no sense. Other than that, I'm done. I don't have to watch that anymore. I can go cool my brain. Honestly, I might need a nap after this. Put in the comments whatever was your favorite moment. I know a lot of people are getting up on these flat earthers for saying the complete opposite of something that they said earlier, but that's what people do when they can't prove nothing. They just come up with all this stuff. They couldn't prove anything. When they asked the scientists to give them some evidence or to give them something, they gave them it. They gave them examples, they gave them sources, they gave them that stuff. But when they asked the flat earthers to give them some evidence, they couldn't do it, and they were dodging the questions. They were going to something else. Whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.